Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Nivedita. I'm the coordinator for this webinar. Firstly, I would like to thank one and all for joining us. Today's topic for the webinar is digital media marketing, and our today's speaker is Subhorup Dasgupta. Shubho is a digital branding and social media expert with more than 25 years of experience. Shubho has deep knowledge on content marketing and digital spacing. He is also a writer, artist, photographer, and musician who believes that humanity is not just a world, but a future waiting to be created. And he is well known for his blog. So without a delay, I request Shubho to walk through and start today's webinar. Before we start the webinar, I request all to drop your questions in the chat window, which we can discuss at the end of the webinar. Thank you. Over to you, Shubho.
For joining. We will be moving into the webinar now. Nivedita, thank you so much for those kind words. I really do not deserve most of them. The webinar that we are going in is called Enterprise Digitally. Once again for joining. We'll start the webinar now. I am assuming that if you have come for this webinar, if the question were asked of you, do you know how to market your enterprise digitally, your answer would be no. I am assuming that. So before we start, we'll just get a quick feel for the kind of audience that we have. So are there any entrepreneurs in the audience? If you could just unmute and let us know. Hi. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. Okay. Any students in the audience? Among the attendees? Anybody who's... Somebody has a Skype open? Okay. So fine. So let me just introduce myself, and this is what I look like. And if you want to see what I do and about my opinion about digital marketing and the social media space, you can follow me on Twitter. I am a graduate of literature, so I've studied literature and came into field of healthcare documentation, and I stayed in that field for many years before moving into social media marketing and social marketing and content marketing a few years back. My interests include first and foremost music and jazz primarily, but I listen to a lot of Western classical, a lot of rock, and a lot of Indian classical too. And I'm very, very excited about a lot of things that are happening in the Indian music space right now. I'm also very fond of the arts, and I do whatever I can to make people realize the importance of art in our daily life. I'm also a blogger, so my primary identity is that of a writer. I write and I publish myself digitally on my blog, and I'm also deeply involved in the community, the blogging community in Hyderabad. As a matter of fact, next week on the 7th of December, we are having the 4th Hyderabad Bloggers Meet, and if you go to Facebook and if you search for 4th, chances are you will get 4th Hyderabad Bloggers Meet event page. So if you're a blogger or if you know a blogger, you can tell them. I also organize something known as Soch, S-O-C-H, which is a platform for social change. The Soch name coming from social change. So this is what I do for work. I'm very fond of tea, so I have a small e-commerce model for tea, fine premium tea, which is called Blend of Tea. So do look me up on Twitter and on Facebook, and you'll find more information about me. The next question is, this is something that formalizing 8 Wins and the digital marketing endeavor of ours is something that we have done fairly recently. And the question that would be arising is that why at a time when policies for digital delivery of content by platforms like Google, Facebook, uh, all of this is undergoing a sea change. It is becoming more and more difficult for brands and businesses to get their message out. Why at that time we are getting into this game? Why when Google and Facebook themselves are trying to get into the digital marketing space, are we getting into the same space? Um, the reason for this is in some ways connected with our larger philosophy of trying to bring morality back into commerce. Mahatma Gandhi listed the lack of morality in commerce as one of the 7 deadly sins of our times. So one of our endeavors is to do business in a responsible and ethical manner. So that's about me. What we'll be doing today is quickly running through a few questions about digital marketing. What is digital marketing? This is for some of you might be having a fair idea, but others might not. Why do enterprises need to be digitally present today? Where and how does this digital marketing business play out? How it works, in the sense, what are the dynamics behind creating a successful digital presence or a successful social media campaign. Then we'll be looking at key components of an effective digital social presence. And I belong to an entity, I head an entity called 8Wins. We'll look at how we can help enterprises, and then we'll be taking questions and answers. So all through this time, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat message. Nivedita will be moderating the Q&A session. So we'll move into the next area of the webinar, which is what it is. And it's a very simple understanding that marketing that uses computers, mobiles, and right now we are talking about new areas such as multimedia optimization. We are talking about virtual gaming. We are talking about alternate reality experiences where marketing is possible. And marketing is possible right down to the pixel level. I mean, if you know what I mean. So digital marketing applies technologies or platforms such as websites, email, networks. So your Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Gmail, Google search, all of this together would be the ecosystem that we are referring to as the digital marketing space. The next question we'll try and answer is why do enterprises need to be present digitally? The simple answer is it is almost impossible for anybody, an enterprise, a business, or an NGO, or organization, or even an individual. It is very difficult for us to get by effectively without being part of the digital media today. And if you look at the slide that you're looking at now, India's population is about 1.2 billion. And if you look at the number of users on a platform called Qzone in China, and this is data from last year, that's like half of India's population. And 5% of India's population is already actively engaged on the social media, on digital platforms. And this is 1-year-old data. This data is changing and upgrading every minute. So the reach that you have is something that, if you put all the national newspapers together, you might not be able to get that. The other reason why a digital presence is critical for organizations is the fact that, we are looking at an ecosystem of many different things happening at the same time. We are talking about branding, where, your brand value is going, and this data that you're looking at is from Forrester. So they have done studies to try and measure the outcomes, the impact of actions taken in the digital space. So if you look at branding, if you can get your digital efforts, for example, your Facebook cover page, display picture, your logo, your color scheme, your uh, messaging, your videos, all of it in alignment with your business objectives. Um, it can be done very easily at the branding level on the digital platforms. Using social media to drive improved brand perception, and very importantly is reputation management, that if you can be listening and looking out for any kind of critical comments in the social space about your brand, you can actually fix it and gain greater brand loyalty in the bargain. So improvement in brand perception is listed out as 10% as or more by Forrester. Of course, the most important thing is sales and reaching consumers more effectively with targeting. The amount of data that is available on these social platforms about the users and their behavior is difficult to imagine. I mean, you have Facebook knows more about you than your wife does, broadly. Um, Between Facebook and Google, they know more about you than probably God does. So sales is very important, and they are able to do this by targeting consumers who would be already sold on your category of your product. So the other thing is, I mean, everybody has a traditional marketing strategy, and it's very easy to integrate. Like if you are going to if you're going to a certain locality of your city, if you're doing an outdoor sales campaign in front of a mall, you can actually use your social media, your digital users database, to target them and to engage them in ways that could not be thought of even 5 years ago. And the sales increase from having an effective digital presence is listed as at least 1%. Spend increase, of course, is listed as 50 to 75%, but return rate, in the sense, spend increase here is talking about the consumer spend. And return rate, the rate at which sales are returned, is decreased because of more efficient customer support, more efficient understanding of needs. So return rate comes down by as much as 65%. Customer service, understood. You're talking to your customers, you're able to reach out to them, and you are giving them a chance to speak back to you without any need for anything beyond a Facebook account or a Twitter account. And it's real time, and you can respond back real time, and there is no cost to this. So cut in support cost is 40%, whereas increase in resolved customer complaints is 90%. And this is the reason why large marketplace players invest so heavily in social media component of customer support. The next is cost. The best part about digital is that you can use data not just of similar campaigns and similar target demographics, but also your ongoing data. It's real time. So you can see what outcomes are arising out of what you're doing on the digital space and make changes to your campaign, to your budget, and shift money to more efficient channels, cut back on stuff that is like a very simple thing like AdWords. If you let AdWords play for about, I'm assuming some of you are familiar with it. If you let it play for about 6 weeks and then go and look at exclusions and start, like working on the exclusions, results which have led to but were not clicks that you want for your campaign. So you add them to your exclusions list, and this can save you a lot of your budget. So cut in inefficient media spend is 10 to 20%. Savings, depending on previous channels, up to 80%. Consumer insights, feedback. The thing is, we are living in a time, where the landscape is changing continuously. The users of today, the 18-year-olds of today, are so different from anything that we could have ever imagined. Their behaviors, their attitudes, their motivations, and their beliefs, all of it are very different. So we are seeing a need to be able to adapt to a developing scenario, and that is only possible by real-time feedback. So this is the complex ecosystem that we are talking about, where it's shifting landscape. What does the market think of what you're doing? You have direct access to your buyers. The people who buy your services can tell you what they think of what you're doing and ways to improve it. So cost is real time and it's outcome based. Your customer service, your relationship management is in the form of a dialogue that can be initiated by the client, which is very important. So, and your sales are targeted, your sales activities are targeted, your marketing effort is targeted towards qualified leads. So these are the whys of you're needing a digital presence today. Where it plays out, the social media is a very, very large and complex thing. We are looking at your traditional social network platforms like um, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Orkut. Orkut is no longer there, but we are talking about new areas of sharing data, media, for example, Flickr and YouTube, where you're able to do things like crowdsource a project. For example, you can create a movie virtually by working with people across the. You have emerging areas which we spoke about, like virtual games, your games and your virtual world and your multimedia optimization. And you have the entire category of live streams, where people can actually put their daily life out on the web. And all of this is happening. You have stuff like Snapchat, where there is no record of what has happened, literally. It is a few seconds life cycle. Microblogging is another area where you have Twitter, and even Facebook is a form of microblogging. So we have all these things, and this is where the marketing effort, because these are your users, these are your clients, and this is where you get to start or participate in conversations that are pertinent to the business that you are in. And how, so that is the landscape, and this is the back end. So you're talking about online marketing being inbound marketing, using your blogs and your traffic leads and stuff, your mobile advertising, your SEO, which is basically another way of saying that what you have on your website and what you're telling the search engines about what you have on your website are in sync. If these two are in sync, then you don't need to do any SEO. And you have offsite SEO, link building, backlinks and stuff. You have affiliate marketing. So, and then you have blogs and the entire social media landscape. So it's a very, very wide set of channels and media types that we are talking about. We are seeing, like we spoke about new models of integrating life and digital media, like virtual reality and alternate reality games. So what is happening is, in all of this, the the key components here are the users. If you look at what is the asset of Facebook is its users. So the users, the conversations, the different kinds of media, depending on the channels you're using, the content that you put out, measuring all of it, listening to conversations, analyzing all of this data, and then putting it back into as learning for improving your outcomes. I'm kind of parched. So when we go into how it works, so can we get some inputs from you? Can you tell me what you are looking at and what does it evoke in you? Any inputs? Okay, so I mean, I'm sure you kind of figured out what you're looking at. Um, when we are talking about a life coming into being, there's a whole lot of planning. And when parents plan a child, there's a whole lot of planning that takes place. Are we financially ready to have a baby? Are we physically, emotionally ready to have a baby? And then there is a strategy. How much money do we need? Do we have enough space in the house? Do we need to hire help? Stuff like that. Where will we keep the kids close? And while all of this is happening, there's something else that's happening behind this planning and this strategy, and this is the possibility of life. And that life starts growing within the mother's womb. And what the mother's womb symbolizes here is the concept of content. And the concept of content is something that is beyond analytics, and it's very difficult to describe the mystery that governs the laws of good content. What makes a person the person that he becomes? It's a very, very difficult question to answer. And the other thing that you will notice is that it takes time. It doesn't happen in 1 or 2 months or a few weeks. It takes 9 months. And during these 9 months, there are thousands and thousands of things happening every minute. As parents and as caregivers, most parents would be going to a doctor. And if you look at the picture and if you see the hands, this is a very common thing. You put your hands on the stomach and you try and see whether the baby is kicking. You try and put your ears to the stomach and see if you can hear its heartbeat. And the same thing is done by the doctors at a different level. They use ultrasounds and Dopplers and stress tests to listen to what the content is saying. What is the message? What are we looking at? Along with that, they take measurements. So they're measuring heart rate, they're measuring the size of the baby, they're measuring Doppler flow and blood flow and stuff. They're taking images and trying to plot it across time. So there's a lot of measurements happening, and these measurements are then analyzed, and the whole process. There's a process of managing pregnancy and managing a childbirth and gestation. And along with this, if you look at this picture, and I'm sure some of you are feeling that way too, there is a whole lot of kuchiku and tintu, mono, and all that kind of stuff that takes place much before the baby is there. And this is also very, very important. So the reason we are using this analogy is because creating an effective digital presence, creating a new entity that is going to represent you or your enterprise or your organization or your cause or your love for something is going to be born, and it does not happen overnight. It requires a whole lot of planning, a whole lot of strategizing. It creates content, and the content is the essence of it, your campaign. And there is a mysterious aspect to the content, in the sense you can't really take another campaign which has worked and try and replicate it and get results. So the entire concept of listening to conversations, listening to what is going on with the conversations that you start, with the media that you put out, measuring the kind of returns you're getting, the kind of engagement levels you're getting, and analyzing those numbers, and along with that, doing a little bit of kuchiku. All of this is what is required to have a successful digital presence. And I don't know if you've noticed, people are very, very careful around pregnant women. If there's a pregnant woman in the house, you're usually, the moment you see her doing something, you say, hey, you don't have to do it, you don't have to do it. Just relax and take it easy, I'll do it. The reason is there is an element of protection, and that is another very important thing about digital presence, that while it is so easy to build up and execute, it is also very fragile. It just takes one customer feedback to go viral for your entire brand value to go down the drain. And years of work can be undone. So this is the crux of what social media marketing, social marketing, and digital marketing is, and where we So if you looked at the image and the analogy we were talking about, so there's a whole lot of research that goes into a digital campaign. There's a whole lot of strategizing. Creation of content is the most complicated task, but it is only one of the tasks. And this is something that most people forget. People think that if I can put an update out on a Facebook page or on Twitter, I am running a digital campaign. That is not true. The kind of content you put out is very, very important. But it has to be supported by a whole cycle of tasks and processes. Managing the community, I mean, if you're talking about 100,000 users on your channels, there is a whole lot of community management tasks that is there, and you need qualified experts, I would say, because I mean, if somebody does not know about your line of business the way you do, they are not qualified to be managing your community. Measurement, very, very important task, analytics, and using all of this data that you get to improve your research and strategy and content ultimately. So these are the key components of a digital campaign. And 8Winds is a business solutions company, and we have recently started our digital marketing services, and we offer audits. So you might be having a digital campaign already, and we will not have any comment on what you are doing, but we can look at it closely and tell you objectively how good it is and if there are any ways that it can be improved. So that's something that we do. We also offer services. So we do not have a website, Rajiv. Thanks for the questions. We do not have a website. It is on its way. We are actually running a crowdsourced campaign to develop our logo and our website. And this is being done entirely by designers who are coming forward to share their expertise. So that's going to be another social event by itself. But you can follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. We'll be giving you the contact details right now. Services, yes, we offer all of the services. So from strategy level to content and community management and analytics, all of it we do. We create custom graphics and custom media for you. We also offer training. So if you want your key stakeholders, and this is something that's very useful for organizations where your internal stakeholders, your employees and associates, they can drive your social media campaign to a very great extent if they know what to do. And we offer training programs not only for that kind of stakeholders, but also for people who want to learn how to effectively create and run a digital campaign. And we offer training programs and internships in that. We have half-day programs, we have one-day programs, and we have fortnight-long programs. We also offer brand management at a personal and corporate level. So these are things that 8Winds does, among other things. And one thing that we do very well is Kuchiku, and we are kind of experts at that, and that's what keeps us going. You might be wondering, and I've been waiting for this question, that what is the relevance of the name 8Winds? So this is the relevance. And while this is not really connected with business or commerce, this is an attitude that we would like to encourage in our customers, in the people that we partner with, of being able, and this is something that entrepreneurs will identify with immediately. So the 4 favorable winds and not being carried away by them, and the 4 unfavorable winds and not being crushed by them. So that is the objective. That's the relevance of the name. We'll just quickly summarize. We are at the end, almost at the end. We're just 15 minutes away, and we'll summarize. The key takeaways from today's session would be the inescapable relevance of digital. It is, if you are not doing digital, and I would qualify it by saying, if you are not doing digital effectively, real time, because real time is very important, because algorithms are changing continuously. What was working 1 month back might not work now. So if you're not doing an effective digital campaign, you are in some ways becoming irrelevant. It's like age, after your middle years, you start feeling the pinch of relevance. So if you're not doing digital, you are um, missing out on a huge piece of opportunity. The second is it's unbeatable. The reach and the focus is unbeatable. You cannot compare it with any other form of media. And the best part of it is it's data driven. So your focus, your spend is focused, your spend is outcome based, and there's almost zero wastage. The third is the fact that it's a dialogue and engagement, and that honestly, if you ask me, I've been seeing I've been seeing a lot of my colleagues talk about a lot of things. But if there's one metrics that you want to really drive and really make it the key metrics, that would be engagement. Nothing else. Number of users is a distant third. So dynamic, complex, changing environment. Facebook is already announcing policies. January 2015 is going to see a huge shift in the playing field. The campaigns are real time. So, if something happens, for example, if the Kashmir elections dictate that you make a change to your campaign, you can do it immediately. So emerging news, it's real time and you can target your ideal customer demographic. You can drill down, like for example, if you have a product, we have recently been working on a product which is a book written by a very elderly author, and it is a book targeted at women and possibly married women only, or women who are about to get married. So we are able to target, depending on which city the book launch is happening in, we are able to target women of particular age groups who are known to be online spenders, whose marital status is either married or parents or engaged. So you can really go down to a lot of demographic detail. I would say if there is one thing that you want to take away from today's session, it would be the relevance of the name A-Twins, because we are coming to the contact slide in the next slide. So please hold on. That is the attitude of not being carried away by the A-Twins. So we will be taking questions. Nivedita, I will be handing it back to you. But before we do that, I just want to leave you with one small piece of information, which is till the 1st of January, we are offering a free gift to all the people who are part of today's webinar. If you contact us before the 1st of January, we will be offering you a free audit of your either of your digital campaign, digital presence, or of your do a needs assessment for your digital requirements. This is an offer that we want to share with you, and this is our gift for the season. These are our contact details. So Honey, thank you for asking. These are our contact details. You can follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. You can reach me directly at any point in time, and I'm usually prompt on email. And you can call me directly. I will receive your calls. I'm really very happy that I was able to have this opportunity to present this webinar, and thanks a lot to my enterprise services and to Nivedita for having me. Thank you. We'll be turning it over to Nivedita, and we'll be taking questions after that. Nivedita, okay. You have to take questions. Yeah. So I'll put myself on mute.
Please post your questions. We will wait for 1 minute to post your questions in chat window.
We do have a website. The website is 8winds.in, but the website is not up. We are working on crowdsourcing the design of the user interface and the logo and stuff. Hi, Tapas. In a digital audit, we would be looking at, if you already have a existing digital presence, we would be using our tools to understand what kind of reach and engagement you have. We will also be looking at what is your kind of cost versus benefit on the campaigns. We will be looking at what kind of community management you have and whether any of these things need to be improved. So that's what we will be doing. We will be taking a deep look at what you're doing and offering our unbiased suggestions.
Shubho, Rishabh has a question. Which one is the better, Google marketing or Facebook?
Hello. It's actually I asked that we are running some campaigns so in Google AdWords and recently incorporated Google remarketing. Also, we are planning for Facebook retargeting. So, based on your experience, could you suggest us do we need to run both simultaneously, or which one is better to run first? Yeah.
Okay. Off the record, honestly, Google remarketing metrics and reach is much wider than Facebook, but Facebook is a platform where people stay on Facebook. So people spend a lot more time on Facebook as one property, and remarketing is much easier, retargeting is much easier when we are looking at this. And you are talking primarily of a paid promotion, you're talking about paid campaigns. So my suggestion would be that it depends on what kind of a product category are you in. What is your service category?
Actually, it's for the HR and for the recruiters person. They can build their job post quickly using our services. Just 5 minutes they can build their web page. Yeah.
Yeah, here my sense is that, see, the thing is Facebook is a generic property. Facebook does not allow you to retarget outside Facebook. All of the targeting that is happening, even with your retargeting, with your cookie-based approach, is happening on Facebook. Whereas with Google, you are being able to track users across across multiple properties. So anywhere that Google has a footprint, it could be AdSense or it could be search, anywhere it has a footprint and the user is suiting your profile, it can retarget. So the reach is much wider with Google Plus, and if you're doing something like HR and recruitment, my sense would be to go with a 60-40 kind of a mix, 60% of your budget for retargeting, remarketing.
So one thing is that so Google does not cover the Facebook pages. If we go with Google remarketing, it does not cover Facebook pages.
No. There's a very interesting thing about Google and Facebook. You cannot endorse a Google property on Facebook, and you cannot endorse a Facebook property or a Microsoft property on Google. You can try on various things. If you try tagging on YouTube, you will not be able to, for example, if you want to tag Facebook, you will be only able to tag Facebook the movie. You will not be able to tag Facebook the platform. So these people have a problem. And the same thing with Facebook. I mean, obviously Facebook has no reach with Google properties.
But when we choose the campaign as a in Google AdWords as a digital search campaign, then they promise that our ad will be appear in all other websites excluding Google Search Network. Then why did they not confirm that it will not appear on Facebook?
No, I don't think it will. I don't think they will have that. I think whoever the information is, probably you need to review that. So.
Okay, fine, yeah. Thank you.
Shubho, we have one more question from Honey. Do digital marketing also works for business to business companies?
Yes, B2B actually works very well with digital marketing because of the first filter that is there, which is the targeting. I mean, you can target, for example, on Facebook, Facebook, you can target small business owners. You can target Facebook page owners. You can choose categories and reach them. And B2B has a lot to do with brand uh, value. So if you are able to build a higher brand value, it helps. Digital marketing is not just about Facebook and Twitter. So there are a whole lot of other things like newsletter campaigns or text, SMS, multimedia campaigns that you can reach on people's mobiles. So all of these are there and which are very effective in B2B situations. Also, the traditional, see, even in digital, there is a traditional. Facebook, Twitter, AdSense, AdWords would be considered traditional digital medium. Even in traditional, there are ways to actually say that my ad should be displayed only to profiles that meet this. So you can drill down to industry-wise targets. You can choose profession, you can choose industry, you can choose education, you can drill down almost any way. So my suggestion would be that for B2B also, having at least, if you have a very, very successful traditional, conventional marketing strategy in place, I would still recommend having a decent mix of digital brand building in place. Next question. Okay, I think we are...
One more question from Honey. Honey would like to know the package of a digital marketing campaign.
We will discuss commercials at a individual level because it differs. I mean, like you can do it's like buying a pen. I mean, you can buy a pen which is 5 rupees and you can buy a pen which is 500,000 rupees. So it depends on what you're looking for. Depends on the breadth of the campaign and but the only thing that I can commit at this point is that any commitment to a digital budget would have to be a long-term one. So you're talking about 1 year of deployment. If you're not going to be able to wait for 1 year, this is a very common frustration with most business owners. They deploy for 2-3 months and then they see that there is nothing tangible and they back out. But it takes time. So, Honey, we would be very happy to meet with you and discuss this further.
We have a question from Ashutosh. What are the aspects covered in digital marketing and digital audit?
Okay, I think we addressed that earlier, but thanks Ashutosh for asking. A digital audit would be covering all your social media and digital presence, looking at what you're doing, looking at measurable parameters like user engagement, reach, cost, all of these, and we would audit all of that and tell you what we think of what you're doing and if there are any ways that you can do it better or if there are any areas where you are perhaps losing money.
Hi, Ashutosh here. I'm sorry that question got repeated, but my actual second question was how can a non-profit organization manage social media? Because generally these organizations do not have a dedicated person who can manage the engagement part.
Yeah, so we have various products that we offer for not-for-profits, one of which is a training program. So if you have stakeholders who can take it on, we have a way of training them. And you can, one of the things that we are trying to do is a zero-cost campaign. So we are trying to teach people how you can do an organic campaign, have reach, have engagement, and not have to pay. It is very, very difficult for businesses to get the kind of returns they want on their investment. But for not-for-profits, you don't have to invest. So if you want to discuss this further, Ashutosh, we would be very happy to meet with you. We have workshops planned for not-for-profits in the next month, in December, at our sacred space and possibly other locations also. So we would be happy to meet with you and talk about this.
Sure, I'll connect with you sometime later then.
Sure. Yeah, so if you can, Nivedita, if you can just make me presenter for a minute before I hand it back for the vote of thanks. I would like to share the contact details once again for anybody who might have missed out on it. So these are our coordinates. We can be reached here, and we would really love to take on, because there are lots of things that really deserve longer discussion, but we can't do that in a 1 hour webinar. So I will end here and hand it over to Nivedita. We are 5 minutes away. So if there's a
We can take up rest of the questions in a mail.
Yes, we will make a mailer of all the pertinent points, and anybody who wants to have further discussions can contact us.
Thank you so much, Subho. Today's webinar was wonderful and informative. I would like to thank all the participants for the support and making the webinar a successful. The record of this webinar will be available in our website soon. Once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you. Have a great evening. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nivedita. Thank you, all of you. Bye.